Hello. Our lesson today is one that I pray that all of you will share with 3 other people and ask them to share with 3 other people. It is that important. The Song of Names. During the horrible years of the pogroms, ghettos, mass murders, genocides, at the end of the 19th and throughout the 20th century, the targeted peoples each developed a different means to recall every person, living and dead. For so long as the names were spoken aloud, they were not defeated. They were still a full member of that community. So the Jews, with the extended families of Russia, Soviet Russia, Union of Soviet Peoples, and the Laotian, the Cambodian, the Hmong, the people of the South Vietnamese, who practiced ritualized days and periods during each day of the calling of the names. For so long as their names were spoken aloud, they were not defeated. They were not dead. This practice has been renewed with COVID, though this society is now so separated, so distant, that it is not a people itself fighting to stay alive, but it is people fighting to stay pertinent. It is the world fighting. The Song of Names was the ritual conducted by the Jews starting of Rome, Florence, and a few other large cities further east. The first caller starts with the last names beginning with AA, and the male leading relative first name starting with A, and names them in a chant, including their last address. If there are 2 of that group, one will have a nickname, such as Jacob the Older, or Big Jacob, or Skinny Jacob, whatever. But his name before Hashem was always spoken. All of the others of the home, each with the most recent, new of status of the death camps, died at Auschwitz. Oh, Hashem, Hashem, all 7 murdered last week at Auschwitz. Gone to their ancestors, gone to their ancestors. Jacob, Marcus of the Rickenstrassers in Rome, then into the ghetto. He was the shoemaker, wife of Martha. Oh, Martha. Martha could make any colicky baby smile. She had enough of her own, Martha. Blessed Martha. Still all 7 living there, so blessed to be together the whole time, all together, until the very end, all dead, at Sobibor, all dead, such sorrow. And then on to the next family. After about 45 minutes, the one singer would swap out, and the next would start where the first had left off. The calling or singing of the names, by the end of World War II, lasted over 7 days. And for they had all of Italy in one song itself, far too few were left to have each city having its own singers. Now, every year, when it is Holocaust remembrance, they sing. And they sing. And they sing. But all they do is sing the names and the age and the place of death. As I said goodbye to Dad last year, I tried to just be still as I thought of this chant, this song of names. God looks at this planet and weeps. Never has there ever been a people that prepared endlessly to do good for its people. But so very many have prepared endlessly, almost joyously, for doing evil, for doing horrible, enormous evils to the people under their control. Not to kill, no, but everything short of killing them. Taking away all hope for life, taking all the will to live out of them. Only one wanted to kill all, when all the others were just thinking of the evil that could be done, when nothing else was to do. But no nation has ever prepared endlessly and continually to care of its citizens, to ensure enough food for all, to have housing, great health care, good water, clothing, to have peace between all its own people and with all nations, and reduce the rate of the volume of crime due to recidivism that is due to addiction, as my dear beloved uncle did when he was county attorney, returned so many times by the voters that I lost count. I just thought it was a job. I didn't realize he actually had to face voters. He required of all persons who received a sentence of any kind due to drugs that it included them taking the tools to break the cycle. First, they had to get education. If they didn't have a high school diploma, they got a general equivalency degree, a GED. If they already had that, then they had to get a work certificate for a job that they learned all of the skills of a welder, of a woodworker, a carpenter, an electrician. All of those jobs were available to them there as if it was a VOTEC. Or they could get a 2-year Associate of Arts degree, all fully paid for, while in prison. And all had drug treatment during their sentence. My uncle said to me once, a very wise but sneaky drug counselor taught me all about testing their hair to see about compliance. So I knew who was feeding me a line of crap every month. But he still lowered the rate of recidivism by more than 75%. And that got the attention of the Attorney General of the United States. And it got the attention of every single person in Washington. For no one else had ever dropped a recidivism rate by more than 22%. and he was 3 times greater. He saved so many thousands of lives because he saw no need not to. DJ, my dad, did so very much work with charities, getting them funding streams for providing child well care visits. This is just a checkup every 6 months for the babies of recovering addicts or domestic abuse survivors, to ensure that the baby was safe and thriving. And using the funding from untapped sources throughout the state, funds here sitting there just mouldering away, a funding source over there that's never been tapped. And using those sources to get all of the new construction for the Miracle of Birth barn, for all of those bus lines to be set up, to make everything handicapped accessible. Guess why? And to do all of this work that they dreamed of for decades and decades and decades. And he got the $22 million. No fight. Nobody else was using it. Nobody else wanted it. And he got money to get all women treatment shelters or treatment houses accessible, but extra rooms thrown in so the women with babies could keep their babies during treatment. And so that the women in prison who had babies while in custody could see them. They created nurseries so that those women who had the baby had the opportunity to earn the chance to be with their baby. They could lose that chance, but if they were doing good and they weren't being stupid, they learned and earned the right to nurse their baby, to change their baby. And all of the women watching and listening now know how important that would be. But these 2 fine Christian men quietly did this. They made no noise. They did not walk through the streets haranguing and saying, look at me, look what I've done. No one knew it was DJ that created all of this fabulous new area at the State Fair to bring in 40% more busing in the first year. And now we're up to 70% more. So all those people who would otherwise have driven cars, they're not. So all that population isn't there. All that parking isn't there. And all the people on the buses are there. These quiet Christian men, they ask, where are the other wealthy folks? Where are the politicians with their time and efforts, but they only are out there where there are cameras? Oh, cows and sheep and pigs, what a hurry. Where are the young people?